Hello everyone, my name is Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be take, I don't know, 3 or 4. I've tried multiple times to make this video, and I've even tried in the past to make this video, and it just didn't go well. So we're going to try again, and I'm just going to say, however this turns out, no matter what I say, no matter how offensive, no matter how over the top, extreme, cold-hearted that it comes across, I'm just gonna put it out there. Yeah, okay. So, anyway, I want to talk about getting out of debt. And this is why I said that I might say some extreme things. Because I have some extreme opinions on getting out of debt. I see it as an extremely, extremely important thing. And as a prepper, I see people who are telling other people to open up a bunch of credit cards and go deeper into debt in order to prep and buy up and stockpile. And I'm sitting there going, no, why? Do not give such bad advice. Please don't give such bad advice. It is horrible advice. As a prepper, you need to be prepared for disasters. You need to be prepared for quarantine lockdown stuff. My mom was on quarantine for 2 weeks, couldn't go to the grocery store. No biggie, because her freezer and her fridge were well stocked, and her pantry. So you need to be prepared for quarantine stuff. What if you came down with COVID and were immediately put on quarantine and weren't allowed to leave your house for 2 weeks? Do you have enough food? Will you be okay for 2 weeks without going to the grocery store? You need to be prepared for the end of the world as we know it, or the shit hits the fan. You need to be prepared for those. But you also need to prepare for life to continue as normal, or as close to normal as it possibly can. So don't cash in your 401k to prep, because you'll have a basement full of food that is rotten and no retirement funds, and you will end up in some state-paid nursing home where they are abusive and don't treat you good in your final years of life because you didn't prepare for your retirement. Enough soapbox. That probably came across as harsh, but getting out of debt is so much more important than what people realize. I own my home. It is mine. I am not making payments on it. It is mine. My house was paid off January 3rd this year. We made our final payment. And in my excitement about being debt-free, because my cars, they're paid off too. In my excitement, I was watching a Dave Ramsey video and I typed a comment that my husband and I were debt-free. And you know how negative people are on social media, on YouTube. People can be awful. It's funny. I think people have spiraled downward very rapidly. But anyway, that's for a totally different video. The first comment on my comment was that I'm very lucky and privileged because not everybody can afford to just, not everybody has that kind of money. Not everybody can afford to just pay off their house. Well, let's talk about that. I'm not lucky. I'm not privileged. My husband and I, we worked hard and we made a ton of sacrifices in order to pay off this house. Don't get me wrong. We have, when we do buy, what we buy that is stuff that we need. We buy quality. We don't just go buy the cheapest junk. We buy what we feel will last. We buy what works best. We do the research. We buy what we need. So our needs are covered, but we made sacrifices, and let's just talk about some of those sacrifices, because we did things that most of America would not be willing to do. We understand the difference between a necessity and a luxury, and that is not something that many Americans understand anymore. There's a lot of things that people are really confused about, and they think it is necessary for life when it's not. Let's just quick and throw out here. What are necessities for life? Water. So clean drinking water. Food. Food is necessary for life. A roof over your head. You have to have shelter. You cannot live in a cold climate without having a warm house. You cannot live in a warm climate without having some kind of shelter or shade from the heat. Those are necessities. Water, food, shelter. You do need clothing also. Please wear your clothing. So, those are the necessities for life. Anything else is really not necessary. So let's talk about the sacrifices that my husband and I have made. Have you ever visited the main page, my YouTube account? If you click on my channel, there is a photo, because there's like a background photo, and the only reason it's still the background photo for my channel is because I don't know how to change it. Yes, I am admitting that on YouTube. I don't know how to change the photo. The photo is a photo of my PT Cruiser. It is a... was that a light going out? I think a light bulb just went out. Anyway, I drive a 2003 PT Cruiser, silver in color. I paid cash for that car. When my 2002 Ford Focus was wrecked in a car accident, an older gentleman, he was in his 80s, he was driving an F-250 pickup truck, and he did an illegal U-turn and crunched my little Focus. When you're driving a 250 pickup truck and it collides with a little Ford Focus, the Ford Focus loses. So I lost my Focus. The insurance company gave me $3,000 for that Focus, which was rather generous because the Kelley Blue Book value was lower than that. But if they didn't give me at least $3,000, we were going to have an issue because there was no way to replace that car for less than $3,000. I could not replace that car with the $3,000. It just wasn't doable because that car, I had maintained it well. It was low mileage for its age. It was in really good shape. It was a good car. I loved that car. To replace it was very difficult. So I ended up paying $5,200 cash for a 2003 PT Cruiser. So it's 1 year newer than the car that I was replacing. The car came with issues, big issues. And we did, over the last 2 years, we've sunk about $5,000 in repairs into this car. It is now reliable. It is now a good little car. Anyways, I'm off topic. The point was, we drive older vehicles that are paid off. My husband's minivan, it needs to be traded in. The thing is a rust bucket. It is ugly. So ugly. If somebody stole it, they'd be doing us a favor. They really would. But we have 2 old vehicles that are paid off. Our house is paid off. It is an old fixer-upper. The house is older than 100 years old. It was built in 1911. Sacrifices. The sacrifices we make are we have 2 older vehicles. Neither one of them have air conditioning. They have heat. We've always made sure we keep heat. That is important when you're in an area where you have cold winters, because otherwise you have no way to defrost your windows and you cannot drive your vehicle. So heat is important. Air conditioning is not a necessity, guys. And this is one of the harsh and brutal truths that people think is just the most horrible thing ever. I don't have air conditioning in my house. I don't have air conditioning in my cars. Harsh reality here. Air conditioning is not necessary for life. It is a recent invention. People lived for centuries without air conditioning and they survived. They knew how to. Your body adapts to the heat as summer comes on. You adapt to the climate. and you're used to it and you know how to survive in it. People who are living in these air-conditioned little bubbles, when the power goes out and they lose air conditioning, that's when you start seeing people dying of heat stroke, because they aren't adjusted to it, and also they don't know how to survive in heat. They don't understand how much water you have to drink in order to survive heat. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm in Illinois. Our heat wave is not as bad as, say, down south, and it's very short-lived. Our summers have actually been cooler summers the last couple of years. So we haven't been in misery from the heat. So that's one of the sacrifices that we make is that we don't have air conditioning, and it saves us money in the summer, because with the furnace turned off, our bill, our Mid-American bill, is quite a bit lower because of the fact that we are not using the air conditioning. Other sacrifices. The cell phone that I am recording on, it is an iPhone 6, not the 6S. It is the iPhone 6, and I got it a couple years ago at Walmart. I paid a little less than $200 for it. It is a straight talk phone. I pay $45 a month to have a phone. We went many years without having internet. Internet is not a necessity, guys. It is not necessary for life. You will not die if you don't have internet. That's another harsh truth. People don't want to hear it, but it's the truth. You don't need internet to survive. Now, with the kids doing online schooling and me working from home, we have had to add internet because it is my livelihood. My paycheck is dependent upon my ability to work from home right now. So we did add internet since this pandemic started. But up until that point, we didn't have internet. I'm 38 years old and have lived most of my life without internet. Other things, other sacrifices we've made. We don't eat out. We don't. We cook most of our meals at home, and we don't spend a lot of money on entertainment. We don't buy all the latest, greatest video games. The game systems that our kids have, they're outdated by the time our kids get them. Our kids didn't get an Xbox 360 until the Xbox One came out. And the Xbox 360, I think we paid it was a Black Friday thing, and I want to say it was like $99, something like that. It was crazy low. It was like a crazy low price for the Xbox 360. My son does have an Xbox One now, but it's not like the newest, latest, greatest thing anymore. And a friend gave us a PlayStation 4 for him also. So he has a PlayStation 4, an Xbox 360, an Xbox One, and then my daughter has a Nintendo Switch. So, I mean, the kids have game systems, but they don't get the newest, latest, greatest games. So they get the games when they are old. We take them to disc replay, of all things, and we buy them used video games because we don't want to spend all of our hard-earned money on video games. And I am not a big fan of video games. I would rather that my kids were learning useful skills that they can use in this life to survive anyway. So I am not big on them spending all of their time on video games. And my daughter, she doesn't even play video games anymore. She works. She is in her final year of high school. She's 18. She has a job. She's a manager. She's a busy kid. Busy kid. So we have gotten by without so many things that people think are necessary for life, or entertainment luxuries that people think they have to have, and in reality you don't. If you are facing not being able to pay your bills or buy groceries, the first thing that needs to go is those luxuries. And people don't realize that. I watch this family that they park their minivan by our Walmart, and they have written in window chalk really big across the side of the windows on their van that they are 4 months behind on rent and need help. They have 3 kids. All 3 kids are sitting there playing on cell phones, smartphones. And I'm thinking the first thing that would have gone if I couldn't pay to keep a roof over my kids' heads, the first thing that would go would be all of those stinking smartphones. Reduce myself to a freaking track phone for emergencies. And yes, we have done that. My husband's phone is a track phone. Don't laugh. It's only for emergencies. I have a smartphone that has the unlimited, the straight talk one, so that we can talk to family as much as we want to. But our second phone is a track phone that never leaves this house because it replaced our landline. It was for emergencies. So that is one of our big sacrifices. We don't have fancy cell phones. And our daughter, she has an iPhone 6S, and it's a straight talk phone also, but she pays for that out of her own paycheck because she wanted that. We were only paying for her to have a track phone, but she wanted to do her own thing, and she works, so, you know, that's her decision. She's 18. Other sacrifices we have made. Not replacing things that break. I have had so many things break in this house over the last few years, and we don't replace them. Dishwasher, when it broke, it's like, nope, I can wash dishes by hand. A dishwasher is not a necessity. It is a luxury. I will old school wash the dishes. I wanted my house paid off. I knew ever since, it's funny, ever since Trump was elected and I saw how ugly people were behaving, and the little hints of civil unrest that started back then, I knew that paying off this house was our number one priority. Getting out of debt was our number one priority. So there are things that when they broke, I just said, nope, old school. We go into old school. I will old school this till I'm blue in the face. If it's not necessary, it's not getting fixed or replaced. We need a fridge. We need a stove. We don't need a dishwasher. So we don't have a microwave. People think we're crazy. There's a lot of things that we just don't have, and sacrifices that we have made that people, they think it's crazy. Now, I will say there is a lot of things that I do now for, say, clothing that is a little bit more expensive. I do prefer to buy organic cotton clothing over the mixed. I don't know if you've noticed, but you go into Walmart and you look for a cotton t-shirt and they're not there. They like don't exist. I searched the entire women's department for a white cotton t-shirt to wear under a dress shirt that I had, because I was concerned about like the spacing on the buttons, so it would like gap a little on this one shirt I had. And I was like, simple problem, I'll solve it. I'll just get a white t-shirt and put underneath. And I looked everywhere through the ladies department at Walmart for just a plain white cotton t-shirt. Didn't exist. I found one polyester white t-shirt in my size in the women's department, and that was it. I believe for health reasons that we should not be clothing our bodies in plastic. So there are some things that I do that are more costly now that I wouldn't have done in the past. This t-shirt, I've owned it for years, and it looks like I've got it's got to be a grease stain. I had to have spilled something on there that had like some kind of oil or grease to it. That's new. The shirt didn't have this yesterday. I just did that. Anyway, this is a cotton polyester blend t-shirt that I got at Walmart for like $5 that I've been wearing for like years. If it's not wore out, I'm going to keep wearing it. It saves you money to keep on wearing your older clothes until they wear out, instead of just, we don't need all of the clothing and all of the shoes and all of the purses that we think we need. Us ladies, we like to change our purses from time to time. We get bored with our clothes and we want to get different clothes. My goal has been buy expensive quality pieces made to last and wear them until they wear out, whether I like it or not. Even if I want something new, even if it's not feminine enough and I just want to be pretty. There's more important things in life than being pretty. And I cringe when I think back when I was younger of all the money that I spent on makeup and all the money I spent on new clothing just because I wanted to be pretty. Being pretty isn't a priority. Being a good person is a priority. Taking care of your family is a priority, but being pretty is not. So that's enough about that soapbox. And like I said, I'm just posting this video as is. Yes, there may be people who get offended, and this is also a viewpoint of mine that is going to make people mad. I don't care if people are offended. It's not my fault that people are intolerant to the viewpoints and opinions and beliefs of others. It is not my responsibility to walk through life on eggshells to avoid offending somebody. If I as a person am offended by something somebody else says, it's on me. It is me that decided to be offended. I have heard some horrible, horrible things and seen some horrible, horrible things. Am I offended? No. I consider the source. You expect horrible people to say horrible things. Getting offended and worked up and upset over it isn't going to help you. It's going to cause stress on you. So let it go, and let it go, guys. Okay, I will talk to you later. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and please focus on getting out of debt and preparing your family for emergencies. Have a good one.